You are now listening to the Going North podcast with your host, author and speaker, Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, you're going to hear the voice of a different author share their stories, expertise, and their struggles that they had to overcome in life to leave you inspired to get more out of your life. Be sure to not only listen to this episode, but share with others, connect with the authors, and always advance others to advance yourself. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, where we bring you some fabulous humans from across the globe, today is no different because we have another author in his house, We have another fabulous author from the COC, baby, or should I say the CTC, the Chaos to Clarity Co-Authors Invasion, baby. That's right. Got some fabulous authors doing a podcast invasion from another planet, baby. A planet called Earth. Oh, wait, that is our planet. Well, anyways, besides that, we have another fabulous author. And this wonderful author right here is the CEO of Ordinary to Extraordinary Life, Core Thinking. And in addition to that, she has a master's degree in transpersonal psychology. I think that's the first for this podcast. And she's also a certified life coach, certified LMT, and as well as the executive producer for Hotel Productions, as well as a columnist for Biz Catalyst 360 Degrees. And you can find out more on a wonderful website known as eileenbild.com. And after that, you probably figured out who this person is. It's the wonderful EB herself, Miss Eileen Bild. How are you today, ma'am?
Hi, I'm doing awesome. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's great having you on the Magical Podcast. Indeed. Just love your energy and love your smile. You're actually one of the first in this series to send me a friend request. I'm like, all right, looks like
Oh,
we got,
really? That's awesome.
yeah, so you won the gold medal in that category.
I'll take it.
That's right. Yes, indeed. Don't worry, we give out the chocolate gold medals, and they're also
Oh,
invisible. Yeah, this podcast is balling on the budget, so yeah, we can't afford the actual gold yet.
okay. Well, when you can, I'll take a rain check.
Oh, okay, good. But don't worry, it does rain puns over here, so that rain check will come sooner than you think.
Okay. Sounds good.
Woo! Well, as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 75 days long, so mind filling in some cavities where I missed some things and tell us all about your moments of chaos that you're able to turn into clarity.
Thank you, Don. I was living a life that I thought was normal and raising kids, just going along in a way that I thought was the way I was supposed to live. And then I got hit with debilitating symptoms. And at the time, this was 20 years ago, it was not very known what these symptoms were. And they included pain all over the body. It included insomnia and brain fog and total debilitation. My doctor finally decided that she was reading information about fibromyalgia. And it was not a household name yet. It was just coming out in the medical community. She says, I think you have fibromyalgia. So she started treating me as best she could. And ultimately, I was taking a lot of prescription pills, but I wasn't getting better. And about 7 years into it, I finally decided that I'd had enough. It was controlling my life. I had to roll out of bed to take care of my kids and my family. And it was totally destructive. So I made a declaration, and that declaration was, I'm going to heal. And that was the turning point from the chaos of not living life fully into having clarity of what it takes to heal and what it takes to live life on my terms, not on the terms of something that took over my body and my mind.
Oh, yes, indeed. And it's a good thing that you're able to be healed of that and overcome that.
Yes, it was really extraordinary what happened, because when I made that declaration, right after I made it, things started to happen. And people started to show up in my life, and opportunities started to show up that allowed me to start putting into place a protocol to be able to heal and overcome the condition. And I actually was able to eliminate all my symptoms in 3 months. And I have not had fibromyalgia since.
Oh, wow, 3 months.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's freaking amazing. How was it able to transform that quickly?
Well, I'm glad you asked. What I realized was the experience that stuck with me from my determination to overcome and heal from the fibromyalgia was rooted in my thinking. And that's why core thinking is the basis of everything I do today. I realized that we live in different paradigms. So we live in a paradigm of health and healing, or we live in a paradigm of sickness and disease. And there is no in between, right? It's either we're sick and we're not feeling well, or we are healthy and we're healed and we feel good. And there's not anything in between that defines the state that we're in the moment. So what I recognized was that we have these neural pathways in the brain that carry our thoughts, and the body responds to the inputs and the outputs. And then we experience the end result, which are the symptoms or the lack of, depending on our thinking. So we have the capacity to shift our neural pathways. And I had a couple of really interesting experiences during that 3 month period that ties or relates to what I just said. And one of those experiences is I detached from saying I have fibromyalgia. So I detached from the attachment to the word and the condition. I know they say it's a disease, but I call it a condition. And when I stopped saying I have fibromyalgia and shifted it to saying I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm healed, as if I was already there at the healing stage or the healed stage. I affirmed that and said it every single day. And anytime I caught myself saying I have fibromyalgia, I quickly changed my wording until eventually I stopped associating with it. When that shift occurred in my thinking, I was driving down the road one day and I could feel a shift, just kind of like in the energies around me, or just kind of when you go into that dazed state when you're driving and you realize you've passed 3 or 4 exits, you know, that stage,
Oh, man.
right?
Horrible.
Right. And then you're like, oh my gosh, how did I go those 5 miles? So I was kind of in that state. And all of a sudden, I just feel this shift going on. And I kind of, in my mind's eye, see and experience the word sickness and disease kind of like coming at me. And I've never had anything like this happen before. And then it just went right over the car, so to speak. And it was like a eye opener. And I talked to some friends afterwards to say, okay, what just happened? Right? It's like, oh my gosh, what was that all about? One of those woohoo moments. And what I realized was, because of my affirmation and my determination and my drive and my will to heal, and the fact that I changed my mindset, it changed my paradigm. My neural pathways shifted. And that was one of the key of the transformational change from sickness and disease to a paradigm of health and healing. And from the chaos of what the disease and what the condition was bringing to me, to the clarity that I was having of why I have come down with it or why it presented itself, and the clarity of what I needed to do to really become healthy. And I will say that I have a friend who reminds me from time to time, who saw me through my sickness and my healing. She told me recently that I looked like I was 100 years old when I was in the middle of the condition. And when I started to heal, it was like a spark had ignited and I glowed. And that to me was a symbol and significant in the change from feeling really down and out and debilitated and hopeless to now I felt alive. I had the zest for life again. I was thriving. And so it was taking me to a point of balance of the mind, the body, and the spirit.
Oh, yeah, from 100 years old all the way back to 24. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. The magical declarations. Or should I say, a declaration of independence from the evil F. Yeah, maybe that's what you call it, the evil F.
Evil F.
And it's kind of interesting. It's like after you made a connection with the right folks, after starting making those declarations to actually get your mind rewired into thinking of health and physical wealth in terms of the body as to just focusing on the sickness itself. So, what really kept you focused do you think the pain was the biggest thing that kept you focused and never losing track of the declarations over time, or was it something else?
I believe it was a combination of the pain and the fact that I wanted my life back. It had stolen my life from me. It had taken me into an abyss of not being able to think and not being able to function in a way that was allowing me to live my life the way I wanted to, because I was always active and I'm a type A, and it just threw me into a place of where I could barely move and I could barely think and focus. And so the desire to move into another way of being back to who I am and back to the person that I wanted to be, which is strong and vibrant and healthy, and to be there for my kids and to be there for others with the work that I do.
Oh yeah, the magical work that you do. And that led you to becoming a life coach indeed. So was it an immediate transfer over to life coaching after the 3 month transformation period, or was there some stuff going on in the transitional period between, I guess, then and the coaching period?
Definitely a transitional period. During that 3 months and shortly thereafter, I started to realize that I had lost myself. And this was the opportunity for me to really be able to identify with who am I? And I think, all of us at some point in our life ask that question, why am I here? Who am I? What's my purpose? And I believe anytime we're in a state of disease or disease, it's a knock on the door to wake us up, for us to step into our authenticity or step into something that we may be ignoring or not paying attention to. And so the transition period between the healing and the life coaching was the treasure hunt, I like to say, following the golden nuggets that were being put in front of me, which included getting my master's in transpersonal psychology, which taught me a lot about how the mind works and the connection between the mind and the body. And then that led to my deeper understanding of who we are as humans and how we operate, how we communicate, how we connect, how we think about ourselves and how that relates to our relation with others, and ultimately becoming a certified life coach and focusing on the core thinking foundation. There's a lot of different people in the world, and I think listeners can identify with people who are problem people and difficult. They can be a loved one, they can be a boss, coworker, strangers. And I have learned over time through the core thinking, through the life coaching, what works for me to deal with difficult people, to become assertive. Now, assertive is not aggressive, it's different. Assertive is setting boundaries, teaching people how to treat you. And one of the keys that has been very prominent in my experiences with difficult people is when we have set boundaries and we let someone know that what they have said, what they have done does not work for you. And in my case, what doesn't work for me. And I redirect them to let them know what does work. They actually respect me more. And they respect my desire for them not to behave or to say something in the way that doesn't work for me. And it's amazing how easy it is, but yet how difficult it is to step into that way of communicating with people, because we have a fear. We fear speaking up and saying what is on our mind and what we really want to tell the person. But if you can overcome that fear, and they may not like what you say, but that's okay, because you're letting them know what works and what does not work.
Sounds fabulous. Sounds fabulous right there. Setting those wonderful boundaries. Let them know that it don't work here. That's right. Let them know we're not going to take it.
It's hard to say no. It really is. Because if we say no to someone, they're going to possibly attack us again, start screaming and yelling. But when you say it with strength, and that's another key, you can't say it with an energy of weakness. It's got to be said with strength so that they get the message, this is the way it is. And sometimes you have to repeat yourself in multiple experiences with the same person more than one time until they get it. And really, you're speaking to the subconscious, not the conscious. So when there's conflict, whether it's in a personal relationship or in a business environment, we want to get people out of their head and into the heart center, because we don't think clearly when we're all in our head in communicating and anger and frustration. But when we're in the heart center, we listen and we can diffuse whatever misunderstanding might be going on, or those boundaries will be honored. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes sense indeed. Sense like quarters and nickels. And not to mention, you also learn from your clients, and you mentioned that they're a reflection of you. So, mind going deeper into your thoughts about your clients being a reflection of you?
Yes, I believe that everybody's connected. We're all connected in some way, and we're living out our life experience, our journeys, as mirrors of each other. So when there's a challenge in someone's life, and let's say I'm life coaching them to help them to overcome their challenge, whether it's a personal relationship or something in business, uh, sometimes it will reflect back on me in understanding that I also have had that challenge before, or it might be something that I've been working on. So it helps me to guide them in a direction so that uh, they can overcome and become successful in whatever the direction that they're taking themselves.
Ah, sweet. So you helping them get that inner compass in order.
Absolutely. And to get to know themselves better as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I mean, it's like, yeah, you may see yourself as Eileen, but there may be a part of you that's Aloysius Lewis, and you need to find out what Aloysius is all about, right?
Exactly. And it helps to build confidence in people because if we don't know who we are, then our confidence in the decisions we make and the boundaries that we have or how we respond to people can be either strong or weak. And my goal is to build people's confidence so that then they can make decisions and feel good about those decisions.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And that's powerful too, and that's a very long process too to go through, just getting to know yourself better, and not to mention grow yourself in the process. Because as you grow yourself, you may learn more things about yourself that you didn't know, but you may also be unlearning or just replacing old habits with new ones.
Absolutely.
So speaking of transforming them old habits into new habits, you also mentioned that you like to be the present moment as a continuous enhancement of what is risen. So any thoughts on continuous enhancement?
Yes. What I'd like to say about that is change is always happening around us, right? I mean, gosh, we live in such a world today that change is every day. And we have to recognize as individuals that change is good and that we're always going forward, even if we feel stuck, and moving in a direction that change will provide us with opportunities, new perspectives. With that, then we can raise the bar on reaching our highest potential. So I think you might agree that the bottom line for all of us in life is to be happy, to enjoy the life that we're carving out for ourselves, and to allow change to happen brings us the ability to create a life that we love.
Oh yeah, that's right. A life that you love with a big old heart indeed. Yeah, that's right. A heart bigger than the Empire State Building, even bigger than a 1 foot tall brick wall, even.
One foot tall brick wall, yes.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. Well, the beautiful thing about your story is that you have so many great one-liners in it, and that you continue to write beyond the story. So, any advice for those who are looking to write about how they were able to transform their pain into power, or better yet, their chaos into clarity?
My words of wisdom would be to never give up, to know that we have the power, or you have the power, we all have the power to create change for the better, and to never give up hope that there is a way. There's always a way, and to step into it and not fear what might or might not happen, but to use your own inner compass and your own sense of self and what you really want to help guide you and direct you.
Yeah, that's right. Don't tap out. Never give up. Well, the fabulous thing is that the book isn't over. You also got some wonderful articles on the wonderful Biz Catalyst website, and you're helping folks to increase their awareness and all that wonderful stuff.
That is true. Yes, my column on there is core thinking for high achievers. So, no matter where we are in life and what position we hold, if we have a career, if we're a parent, our perceptions of things is a wonderful guide for us to be able to help others and be there for ourselves and to be an inspiration for those who come into our lives.
Woohoo! Well, and speaking of coming into lives, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2019, with all of your amassed knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
That's a good question. The thing that I've learned the most that I would advise my 25-year-old self is to start personal and professional development now at age 25 and really get to know who I am and to follow the guidelines of what it takes to be successful and to really step fully into living a life on purpose.
That's right, living that life on purpose indeed. Yes, indeed. Probably even live it like it's golden too, I added. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Start that professional, personal development journey right now. Well, all right. For those who want to keep in contact with the fabulous Eileen, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you?
They can find me on my website, www.eileenbild.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Eileen Bild, and I have an email, coach@eileenbild.com, and of course my website on Biz Catalyst 360, Core Thinking for High Achievers.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. There's all the places where you can find fabulous Eileen. You can find her smiling face on all them wonderful places indeed. So go ahead, pick a place, reach out to her, say hi, send a random funny smiling emoji saying, "Hey, I liked your interview on that podcast," and buy a copy of that Chaos to Clarity and get some 2020 vision. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, that parting words for the folks still listening, Eileen.
I always like to tell people I wish them the best in life and love, joy, peace, and happiness.
Hey there, you superstar. Thanks a bunch for making it this far in the podcast. Hope you really enjoyed it. Heck, if you made it this far, that means you really enjoyed it. Be sure to shoot the guest an email or head over to the social media pages and leave them a nice response that you heard them on the Going North podcast so that way they can continue to be inspired to do great things.